What is up, Bold Nation, and welcome to today's video, guys. We're going to be answering a question that I've been seeing a lot in the comment section, not only within the Dragon Communion Seal location guide, but also in the ERDTREE Seal location guide, and also when I put the builds together, is which one of these two is a better seal? Now, the answer to this might be a very simple answer for most of you guys. You might say this one's better because of the stats, or this one's better because of the stats. But I have to break it down to you guys and tell you guys that it is not just that of a simple answer. There's a lot more to it and a lot more complexity that you're probably going to want to know about to figure out exactly what's the best seal for you or what's the best seal for your build. So if this sounds interesting, a like would be greatly appreciated, and let's dive in and talk about the seals. So starting off, let's start off with the Dragon Communion Seal, and one recommendation either for whichever seal you decide to go with, I always want to recommend it to do plus 10 because you want to level these up to get the most benefits. Now, the Dragon Communion Seal, guys, has a couple components that we need to address before we get into like the whole versus category, okay? So for the Dragon Communion Seal, we have a really good incantation scaling of 358. So that pretty much tells you how much your incantations will be scaled when you're using the skill. In addition to that, it also has a passive effect which is going to boost Dragon Communion incantations. So if you are going to be using and relying a lot on Dragon Communion incantations, this is definitely a really good seal for that type of incantations. But overall, in general, just a really good seal at all. Now, the next seal we have, of course, guys, is the ERDTREE seal. Now, this does not have a passive one, but it does have an incantation scaling of 273. And right off the bat, you're probably already saying, well, Laser, I mean, if you look at the incantation scaling at the Dragon Communion seal, and you look at the incantation scaling on the ERDTREE, of course, I would rather go with the one that has the higher incantations and has the passive boots. But that is not always the true story, because this is also determined on what the attribute scaling is for each shield. So we take a look at the Dragon Communion Shield, we're going to notice that the attribute scaling is S for Arcane, but for Faith, it is a B scaling. So if you are using a Faith build, which a lot of people actually compose the Dragon Communion Seal as a Faith build, then you're not going to be getting that much damage if you're just primarily focused on Faith. Now, if you're just going to be going straight up Faith, and you only have a really high cap on Faith, like say 80, and that is your complete build, then this is going to do way more damage with that Faith build than the Dragon Communion Seal. But that does not completely answer the question which is better, because there is different stuff that we got to take into consideration. Number one is what type of incantations are you actually using? Because some people are using incantations and they really don't know on what category that incantation falls into. So for example, is the incantation going to be more benefit from Faith, or is the incantation going to be more benefit from Arcane? So that is one concept that you guys definitely have to take into account whenever you're putting a build, or whenever you guys are using a specific type of incantation, is know what category that incantation is. Now, one thing I want to let you guys know, if you go to your inventory and you go to the crafting, you're going to notice that the actual incantations are placed within categories. So if you notice that we go through this category list here, you're going to notice that there's a little bar that runs underneath that incantation. So that's one particular category. There's another particular category. There's a fire category, lightning category. These are another category. So there's a frenzy category, dragon category. So knowing that these categories exist in this particular game, you know exactly where the incantations fall suits depending on the type of build that you are running. Now, another thing that you want to know, guys, is that these incantations that a lot of people don't pay attention to actually scale off different variables. So for example, we take a look at this one, they have different attribute requirements, right? So let's say you want to use this lightning one, right, which is really good. I'll have a build for this one, but you want to use this one, the Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike. This one actually scales primarily off Faith. So even if I were running the Dragon Communion Seal, this will be hitting a lot harder if I was doing just a pure Faith build than if I was running an Arcane and a Faith build together, coinciding together. And I'll showcase this in a little bit so you guys can see the different examples. Now, another one that a lot of people tend to love and use quite often when they're using incantations are these right here, which is this one right here. As you see, this one scales off of Faith and Arcane. So this one would be more benefit for the Communion Seal. So that's why it's very important that you understand the incantations that you're using to determine which one of the two is the better seal. Now, One thing that a lot of people don't talk about, and I think it's really important that you pay close attention to, is the fact that there is a level cap until where you actually get a complete benefit, and then where you kind of just are wasting points when you're making your builds, right? So one of the things that you need to understand is that the cap for faith, the complete cap for faith, is 80. So I could go to my character's level right here, and if I dump 80 points into faith, that's as high as I need to go. I don't need to go any higher. Now the question becomes is, what is the cap of the Dragon Community Seal? Because if I am going to be allocating 80 points into faith, I want to make sure that I'm not overspending points when I could get the same amount of damage if I were to use the Dragon Community Seal, right? So for the Dragon Community Seal, the cap is 45. So you don't need to spend any more points into Arcane over 45 to get the complete, I wouldn't say the complete, but to get the maximum amount of benefits from that S tier scaling. Even though you have the B scaling for faith, that means you could dump theoretically a total of 20 points into faith, and you should be able to get the same amount of damage you would if you're just running this as a particular faith seal. Now the question becomes is that true? Is that a lie? Well, let's go ahead and test it out. Put just one incantation that just relies on faith and see what type of damage it does with the Dragon Seal rend at 45 Arcane and 30 points into faith. Well, let's see the type of damage it does, and then we're going to come back, check the ERDTREE running at 80 faith, and see what the damage difference is. But wait guys, there's still another little caveat regarding the shields that we're going to want to dive into. So let's go ahead and do this test and find out which one's better. Alright guys, so now we show you guys these stats on my character. So we have 80 faith right here. Okay, and as far as our equipment, it's going to be the same equipment. Alright, we're running the same thing. Only thing that's kind of boosting our incantations is this and this, but that's not really a big of an issue because everything's going to be done the same way. And of course, we're going to use the incantation that just relies on faith. So here we go guys, 80 faith on the ERDTREE seal, same spot by his foot. Cast this real quick and see the amount of damage. 5,000 damage, okay? 5,032 damage. Now we're gonna go change our stats and just put this stuff on Arcane, and I'll show you guys the stats once we get back. Alright, so we're back guys. Let me show you guys these stats. We changed our faith to 30, our Arcane to 45, and that's just the big changes. And now we're gonna be using the seal that's gonna allow us to do that. So let's make sure we have that removed so we don't have that double scaling. Now we're going to go here and go down to this guy, stand by his foot, and then we're going to cast the lightning. Here we go, and see how much damage it does. It does 3,450. So as you guys see right there, it does less damage because this particular seal is reading off Arcane, but you see that there is not that much of a difference. This is at 5,000, this is almost 3,500, so it's like about 1,500. Now I know what you're saying, laser. Oh, of course, the ERDTREE is definitely the way to go. It's better than this one. Wait, there's a little bit more. Unfortunately, guys, this particular item right here, there is no other way I could actually boost this to give me more faith with armor, because there's only theoretically 3 armor pieces that actually boost faith, which I'll have a video on that, so you guys are definitely going to want to check that out on the faith armor. But the highest I could get from a boost is 2 more points. Now the advantage we have with the Dragon Communion Seal is that I can actually boost my shield with this one right here, which gives me 8 in Arcane. So you guys will notice my Arcane is going to go up. In addition to that, I can even boost that even further and boost my faith with this item right here. So we get that boost. And on top of that, guys, I'm able to boost my Arcane and faith with a talisman. So you're going to notice right here, we're going to go to this talisman right here and boost the Arcane. As you guys see right there, faith and Arcane get boosted that I'm not able to do with faith. So now we go here, we're going to sit down and do the same thing again and go walk up to the giant and head over here and see the amount of damage difference that it does now that we have extra Arcane damage, extra extra faith damage. We're going to see the damage that it does. It does 3,341. So as you guys see there, we got a boost in damage, almost 300 points additional. Stuff that you're not going to be able to do that. And you also wasted less points than you did with here, because on this one, you have to go up a total of 80 points into that category. And for this one, we're only using 75, so 5 more points less than that. So if we see this in retrospect, there are better ways to actually boost the Dragon Communion Seal. All right, so now that you understand that advantage, let's go ahead and show you guys how the character I went ahead and respect them. I actually just dumped 32 points into Arcane, and I'm picking up 13 points from the helmet and 5 points from this item right here. And in Faith, I dumped 40 points, so allowing me to have a 45-45 stat, which is actually 46 because of the chest piece. And now we're going to go here and we're going to see the amount of damage it actually does. And you're going to notice that there is a big whopping difference in the sense of damage that it does. 3,318. Not that much of a difference from the actual having more points dumped into Arcane than in Fate. So as you guys see right there, there is a huge advantage when you're using the seal due to the fact that you're able to dump additional points into other variants, like for example, Strength, Dexterity, depending on the type of build you have. So at the end of the day, guys, these two seals are amazing and extremely powerful. But if you want to maximize the amount of power these seals actually do, then you're going to want to check out this video where I use one of these seals to one-shot the enemy and take full control and damage on people in PvP. So if you're looking for a really awesome build, check out that video. You guys are not going to want to miss it because you're going to be able to one-shot not only people in PvP, but also people in PvE.